So this is the Sync 4A media screen that you're going to find inside of the Ford Edge. Inside of this one, it's the built-in connected navigation. So after the 3 years of connected services are up, if you don't continue to renew, this moves into just a traditional GPS. So you could enter in the coordinates, the whatever location you want to go to, etc. Let's dive into it. I'll show you everything that you need to know. So a few small differences, like honestly, between the Sync 4 and the Sync 4A, just some small graphic changes. Like this is a car icon in the previous gen versus it's slightly different icons there. And it's the same thing as we kind of move throughout. So that's really the big difference. So I'm just going to give you the basics of what you need to know here. So when you push the little home icon along the top, that's going to bring down either apps or entertainment. You've got this one for some different settings that are available. Connectivity along the top, what your outside temperature is, along with the current time. So starting off with some basic apps, you've got radio. And radio, you can see you've got AM, FM, SiriusXM. You can push there in order to get to some different settings for whatever source you're currently on. So, we're preset rows. Honestly, just recommend going for max available presets. And then radio text, whether or not that one shows up as you go to different stations is up to you. But the big reason why I suggest going for max presets, like so many different pages there that are available. And if you wanted to save a station, it's straightforward. So you could manually tune if you wanted to go that route. You could physically type in the station this way if you wanted to. Or you could do a press and hold on the steering wheel, so the voice command prompt, to change stations that way instead. But once you've tuned to the station you want to save, you're just going to choose any open space, or any space really, just press and hold, and preset saved, and you can see there that it saved that preset for us. You can do a basic seek that way, seek to next active station that way instead. When you move into SiriusXM, that gives you a series of different options available instead. So you can see there, you've got your notification, and that's going to be either for the song itself or for the artist. If you've saved notifications, you've got that available as an option as well to go in. You can also browse if you want to, so different category views. Drop down and go to some listener settings. So you've got your, obviously for a demo, you can personalize it as well and create an individual listener. So big benefit there is if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, you can essentially figure out what different, you can set it up for an individual listener. So your listening history, your settings, and things like that. You can look at favorites if you set those up. Different listening history there as well. Let's close some of these things down. So obviously, because we've never listened to anything, there shouldn't be anything in the history there. Individual settings. So do you want to change an avatar? Kind of neat. A few basic icons there. You can edit your name, manage notifications. So as a different song or artist comes up, will it let you know? Yes, no. Do you want to block explicit content? You want to reset history, etc. So very straightforward there. And then you've got your preset rows where you can tweak it out from that setting instead. So a few different options. Now, one thing, I've got a USB stick with MP3s on there. So you can see that I've already used it, so it's kind of popped up there. But if you go back home, it gives you every available option. So watch this. I'm going to unplug USB, and you can see that it's disappeared. But if I plug it back in, so as you have different sources that are available, they will show up there. So, I mean, if you had your phone hooked up for Bluetooth, that would show up as an available option. But pushing through, you can see there it's launching into the USB stick there. And then quick audio test. Today's gonna be a good day. Set your affirmations, aspirations. So really good sound settings that are available there. You can go your basic information there as well, and you can kind of dive in to see where the song is actually saved, which is kind of nice. Same idea, if you're listening to USB, you've got a few other options there. Moving back, I've got phone, navigation, and a few others, so let's hop into adding in a phone. Very straightforward. So as of right now, you can see that there's nothing that's currently connected. So on the phone, all you're going to do, open up Bluetooth, add device.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
Ford Edge is shown up.
Confirm that the pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Pins match up. Do I want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? I'm going to say no.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
All right, so I'm going to come back to CarPlay in a second. You can see there 911 assist. Definitely recommend turning that one on because if you're ever in an accident and your phone's connected, it's going to automatically dial 911 if it's a serious accident. Like minor fender benders and things like that, it won't. Think like vehicle rolls, significant crashes, whatever the case may be. And then you just hit finish and the phone is connected. So if you want to, you can do a press and hold on the steering wheel if you wanted to activate your Siri Assistant instead, which is kind of cool. But you've also got a series of other things. So you can see what devices are currently connected. You can hop inside, and if you've got multiple phones connected, you could also select one for just the phone, one for audio, etc. You can hop inside there to manage contacts. You've got messaging logs and things like that. Or you can hop out to go back to this screen. You've got your contacts, dial pad, text messages, and things like that. And the reason why you can't see anything there and why it's saying failed is because I said no originally. But now for Apple CarPlay. On the screen, wireless connection. So do you want to use CarPlay with the Edge? Yes. We want to enable. Perfect, look at that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are fully connected. And I mean, look at this. It takes up a good amount of screen real estate as well, which is great. How to pronounce it, so good. It's like, how do you pronounce that word? All right, so there we go. But I mean, this is great. So I mean, if we take a look along the top there, series of different trays along the very bottom, you can see we can push back to this main screen, and then you've got a few different icons along the bottom there. So it's what map application was opened up, what radio app, and what random app was last opened, and then your connectivity and battery percentage. So this is an interesting one. So let's say if we go Apple Maps, it's nice. No pinch to zoom capabilities, unfortunately. So you've got to go plus minus along the side there. You can search and look at different destinations, change your heading if you want to. So 2D, 3D, whatever the case may be. If you go back home, swipe across, you can open on Google Maps instead. Same idea, no pinch to zoom, but you can at least you can't even do a finger drag there. Oh, that's disappointing. So you can go up and down that way instead, or you can zoom in and out, etc. Done. Search for addresses, route options. So if you wanted to avoid things like highways, toll roads, whatever the case may be. Adjust your volume, north, up, etc. And then you've also got Waze. So that's one nice thing is that through Google, or through Apple, I should say, you've got the option of still. It's really disappointing. I wish that you'd have like the drag capabilities inside of this. Unfortunately not, but this is nice. So that is kind of like your main screen here. Push there to get back to the sub screen. You've got your map there. You can hot button press and go across to a series of different options as well. So I mean, as you see there, ton of different options that are available. Unfortunately, you don't have the flexibility of adjusting the background there, so that is what it is. But through the phone itself, we could go to General Settings, CarPlay, connect to the Edge. You can forget the vehicle, toggle CarPlay off, or you can customize. So if you're a big fan of, I don't know, maybe you love listening to your podcasts and you want to make sure that Google Maps is always available for you as well, we can do a drag and drop to move any of these things around. If you don't like certain apps, you can delete them and it fully removes them from the screen, but it keeps them saved so you can just plus in order to add it back in again. If you've played around with this too much, like let's say you're kind of dragging and dropping, you're having a fun old time and you don't like what you've done, there's a little reset button along the top of the phone there. So you just push reset layout, and that brings you back to your factory default screen there instead. Kind of nice. But if you wanted to, you could also easily get back home, push the button there to go into any of these other settings. So if you wanted to just jump into your factory navigation instead, and when you go back home, so when you're out of CarPlay, there's a little CarPlay icon now. So we can push that in order to hop back inside. Moving back home, hop into your phone instead. So, I mean, it's very straightforward to be able to use this thing. Nice. So, straightforward. We go into phone list. And from there, you can see connected to CarPlay. So if you wanted to go back to Bluetooth, you can just push one of those. And what it's doing is it's essentially disconnecting from CarPlay, and it's just connecting over Bluetooth instead now. So CarPlay is not active, which is why the CarPlay icon's no longer there. So I know it's quite a little bit, but it's also straightforward at the same time. But that's how you set up an Apple device inside of the Edge. All right, and setting up an Android device is the exact same process. So obviously we're on the basic Apple CarPlay screen, but what we want to do is hop into phone list there, and that's going to bring us to this screen. So we could reconnect to the iPhone or add in another phone. There we go.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
So we're going to connect. Do we want to allow contacts to sync up? I'm going to press skip there. Same idea. I'm going to skip syncing up the SMS messages. So we're going to skip.
For your safety,
Perfect.
stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
All right, so we are fully connected there. And now there are some different hands-free settings that are available there, letting us know. Same idea, we're just going to press OK to go through. And then you can set up. So we're going to you can hit done for now if you want to. And then also supports wireless Android Auto. So if you want to, you just hit enable there. Connecting to. I love how quick this is. Oh, perfect. Continue. 3, 2, 1. And I mean, you can see there, fully connected now, which is great. This is nice. So you've got I love that. So you can actually move around on this screen if you want to. You've got weather, also CBC Radio News. There's a little button along the very bottom there if you wanted to move into this base screen. This phone does have Waze installed, but I mean, as you can see there, not available as an option. So strictly looking at Google Maps, unfortunately, but stretched across the screen nicely. And unlike the iPhone side, pinch to zoom capabilities, which is fantastic. You can search for addresses. You can also, same idea of route options if you wanted to avoid toll routes and things like that as well. You've got your Google Assistant. So if you wanted to launch your Google Assistant, you can push there. You can also do the press and hold on the steering wheel to launch your Google Assistant that way instead. Very similar to what we saw on the iPhone side of things. You can see what your current connection status and battery levels are too. Along the bottom, you've got a series of other buttons that are available. Moving back down into some basics on top of that. So very straightforward. If we go back home, actually, let's go to settings for a second. Phone list. And we're connected to the Galaxy right now, but let's connect to the Galaxy for just phone calls. And this is one cool thing because we've got both phones that are connected now. So let's say if you want to use one phone for audio. Perfect. So you can see there, one phone for audio, one phone for phone calls. So that's really cool because if you wanted to make sure that your phone's connected strictly for business calls there, but you've got your secondary phone that's set up in order to be able to listen to music, you've got the flexibility to adjust it. So you can essentially do whatever you want to there. So one for phone, one for music. But the kicker is that you can't do Android Auto and Apple CarPlay at the same time. So it's essentially either or for these settings if you've got multiple phones connected. And then if you wanted to remove a phone, all you're going to do, press the little garbage icon there and delete. Same idea, we're going to press the icon and delete. And both phones are now disconnected. And it's that easy setting phones up inside of this vehicle. All right, so phone is now connected. Next up, you've got factory navigation. And as I mentioned, you've got two different types of navigation, but I mean, this is nice. They both work the exact same way. It's just the difference of connected built-in navigation where you can use this as a regular map after or not. Pushing there, you've got your basic where to. So you can easily type in addresses there if you want to. You could also use the voice command prompt if you wanted to go that route. So let's say if you wanted to, navigate to Tim Hortons.
Which item would you like?
So you've got a series of options there, so let's just select.
Starting route to Tim Hortons. Obey traffic laws. Be alert and use voice commands while driving.
There we go. So you can see there, details. You can see where it's taking us for the trip, turn-by-turn list if you want to, or you can edit the route out. So if you have multiple destinations, like you wanted to go to a different address first, you wanted to go to different things like look at fuel price. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can see fuel prices. You can explore. So the big one on explore, there we go. We're looking for restaurants and other things. So if you wanted to stop somewhere kind of part way, you would have that flexibility, but we don't want to. So let's head back out and we could either save it if we want to, or we just press X out there to go back to kind of our route overview. We move back. We can see that we're kind of pointed there and we hit go. And there we go. You can change out what view you're looking at there if you want to. You can push there to see the full route, end destination, back to the route again, press back, and then this one, you can also cancel the route out. So it's very straightforward. And then we've canceled the route, but if you wanted to, you can push there again. If you wanted to go to your home address or work address, which we haven't set up yet. So a big benefit there is that if you set up your home and work address, you can push the voice command prompt on the steering wheel and be able to say navigate home, navigate to work, whatever the case may be. You've got recent, so the addresses that we've gone to. We can push there if we wanted to go back. And this is kind of cool because now we can see some more advanced options. So we can save it out as a favorite. If you go to that location regularly, you can see what else is nearby, or you can just hit go and it's just going to take us there. So it's kind of neat that we've got that available. Exit out. Along the very bottom now, so bottom tray, you've got what direction you're currently facing, city you're in, and your current elevation. Pressing along the bottom gives you a series of other options. So what's up ahead, exit, parking, you can see where you are, or look at some navigation settings. So if you wanted to, you can go map and vehicle settings, change up, 3D, 2D, whatever the case may be, look at different guidance options. So the big one there is voice prompts or tones. So when you're coming up to a turn, is it going to let you know and say upcoming turn in 200 meters, or is it just a tone? Zooming, so it's going to zoom in and out closer as you go, just depending on how close you are. Do you want to avoid certain things on the route as you go? It's so many options. So do you want to avoid car trains, ferries, toll roads, highways, whatever the case may be? Moving back, you can search for addresses. You can see live traffic and traffic alerts and things like that. That does require the connected navigation. You can look at notifications, user data, and things like that. But very straightforward, and that's how you use factory navigation inside of this thing. Next up is media. So media there, you can see we've got a series of options. So as of right now, nothing's currently connected, which is why it's showing nothing, but we can add in different Bluetooth devices, phones, whatever the case may be. Moving back, showed you earlier, USB, there's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, fully digital owner's manual, which is kind of cool. So if you're getting some wonky messages on the screen and you're not really sure what they mean, you can do a visual search and things like that. So if we type in like cluster, or I guess one of the cool ones is even like maintenance. So if you're not really sure the maintenance schedule, or well, let's go oil changes. So you can see adding engine oil, checking oil levels and things like that. So it is kind of cool because if you're not sure when you should be changing oil, maintenance schedules and things like that, you can see it right through the screen. Pressing the little settings icon along the top. Tone settings lets you change out treble, mid-range, bass. I honestly just recommend dropping the treble down 2 and cranking the bass by like 2 to 3. That's generally going to give you some pretty good audio. Balance and fade. So where do you want the balance to be? So if you're the only one in the car versus multiple people, just reset it out if you want to. Speed compensated volume. If you're going faster, slower, whatever the case may be, it's automatically going to either raise or lower the volume for you. And then is it just drivers or all seats that are available for the mode there? Phone list, we've deleted. Vehicle settings, you've got rear occupant alert. So when you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to tell you to check the back seats. Some general settings, do you want to change to English, Spanish, French? Do you want kilometers or miles there? Celsius or Fahrenheit? Do you want to measure in weight and pounds or kilograms? The beeping that we get, you could toggle off. Connectivity settings. You can toggle off Bluetooth if you want to. You can also change your vehicle name. So the default there is Ford Edge, but if you wanted to, you could change it to anything else that you wanted to. Bob's Ride, Sally's Edge, whatever the case may be. So you're just going connectivity and then your Bluetooth settings there. Wireless app projection, hotspot, some Wi-Fi networks. Big benefit there is that if you're connected to a network at home, it's automatically going to let you update the vehicle and you can schedule when you want updates to happen. I honestly just recommend you go ideally later on at night because sometimes it takes 3 or 4 hours to update to make sure your vehicle's up to date. There is a wireless hotspot available here. You do need to have a data-only plan through a cell phone provider in order to be able to use this system. But it is kind of nice that it's available because you can use your vehicle as a wireless hotspot for up to 10 devices. But I mean, realistically, 20 gigs of data, you're pretty much covered off through your phone regardless. Software updates we've already touched on. Ford Assistant. So this is essentially a voice assistant to do things like let you change songs, radio stations. You can even adjust the climate settings right through this screen as well. So I honestly just recommend taking time getting used to this. Figure out what you can do because there are so many options. Actually, this is a cool one. Listen to different things. There are so many different options available there. And there are a few different things. So advanced mode means that you won't get as many notifications. Phone confirmation, do you want to call such and such person? Yes or no? The command list is this. So whether or not that one shows up. Command help. This is the big one. So if you're new to the Ford Edge world or the Sync 4 world and you want to know what this thing can do, this is the screen to go on. because you can do things like change your climate settings if you want to. You can adjust your media out. You can make phone calls and things like that. So there are so many different options available, but the big one is climate control. Because there's no tactile buttons, everything's built in. This is a really good one to get to know because you can change climate using your voice. And then listen to wake word. So rather than pressing the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, you could say, okay, forward pass, whatever the case may be, and it just launches into your assistant instead. Valet mode. So if we enter in a nice difficult PIN, don't use 0000, but it locks out everything but climate control. So you can't do anything until you re-enter that 4-digit number again. And I think that's it. That's going to be the basics there. Next up, hopping back up, and the last one, I didn't look at entertainment. So this screen, unfortunately, doesn't give you the flexibility to use video right through the screen, but you've got a ton of options. You've got some different... Ooh, that's new. So in the last gen screen, it was essentially just like one version of Sudoku. So you could go medium or hard. Ooh, I wonder how hard is. Oh, that's kind of cool. So you've got Sudoku and things like that are built right into the screen here as well, which is kind of neat. I kind of like that. Kudos for it. That's really... Oh, cool. And it's kind of like the helpful version as well. I like that. Good job, Ford. So if you're kind of like a game player, you've got a series of different games that are available right through the screen. So like Tetris, Lane Change, and a few others. You do have to be stopped, though, in order to be able to use the games. Because watch this. I'm going to switch into Drive. And when we do that, entertainment is completely blacked out now. Or grayed out, I should say. So we can't use any games unless you're parked. Kind of cool. But climate control settings are built right into the screen. So you can see there, dual zone climate control. If you want to, you can adjust it by going plus minus this way. Or you can do drag and drop instead to change out. Auto mode, air conditioning, driver passenger side. For the driver side, do you want to turn on the heated seat or heated steering wheel? Same thing for the passenger, heated seat, etc. 3 different levels. Do you want to adjust your fan speed? Same idea, we can go up and down this way, or you can do a drag and drop. Do you want the climate going to your windshield, face, or feet? Some sort of combination of the above. You can also toggle on your heated steering wheel from there, max air conditioning, air circulation, etc. And then dual zone. So the reason why dual zone's there is because we've got the passenger set to something different than the driver. But if you hit dual, it defaults the passenger to whatever the driver's side set at. And then you can turn the system off there as well if you want. Moving down, there are a few other buttons. So volume control, tuning rocker, 4-way blinkers, max windshield defroster, and then your camera. So because this one is just the ST line, it doesn't have the front-facing camera as well. But if you had the front-facing camera, you could switch out between your different camera views there instead. And then change songs, radio stations, play, pause, whatever the case may be. It's all very straightforward, but that's everything that you need to know about the Sync 4 screen inside of the Ford Edge.